This is a cat translator, this is a robot cat camera, and this is just plain weird. That's right, in this video, my cats Ralph and Bella are going to test 10 pieces of cat technology and see what it's like to live in the future. So let's start with that weird one, a scratching post. Yeah, you're going to have to trust me on this one. Other than being a lot taller than the ones Ralph and Bella already have, this looks pretty normal at first glance. That's until you plug it in, however. Yep, it has LEDs inside. The idea is to create a moving pattern for your cat to chase. Sort of like the dot from a laser pen, and it can even play Snake. I'm not gonna lie, I kinda wanna chase it myself. Ralph was first on the scene, and though he immediately seemed to like it, he was far more interested in rolling around frolicking, whilst Bella sat next to me completely uninterested. Eventually Ralph couldn't resist a scratch awkwardly laying on his side, before going full-on zoomy mode. Still, he remained indifferent to the lights, and then this happened. Bella, you're supposed to be scratching the colourful, exciting new one. She soon made her way over, and like she does with everything, ferociously headbutted it. That's one very happy Bella. Like Ralph, she had a little roll around. I think it must have been pre-scented with catnip or something, and that's when she noticed the lights. Finally. Not that she actually did anything, aside from just sitting and staring. Now it's not fair to judge this only on the cat's initial reactions, so I set up a night vision camera to see if they used it overnight, and other than Bella rolling around some more, and Ralph creepily staring a lot, they did not. So let's see if we can get some more use out of this second gadget, a robot camera. It's essentially a tiny remote control camera that you can drive around, really useful for checking on your cats when you're not home, for example. Bella was unsurprisingly curious, and looked adorable sniffing it and checking it out. When it moved, she didn't seem to mind as long as it didn't get too close. But with Ralph, I knew before I even showed it to him that he wouldn't like it, so didn't want to stress him out by driving it. And as predicted, he scampered off upstairs. As you can clearly see, the picture quality is far from amazing, and it kept randomly exclaiming its own name like a Pokemon. It also kept driving around unprompted, so I really didn't like having it in the house. Luckily, this next camera isn't for the house and doesn't move round. It's a camera bird feeder. Ralph and Bella go mad for those several hour-long bird videos on YouTube, so I thought I'd step it up a notch by creating my own. Okay, this gadget is definitely more for me. I mean, how spectacular is this footage? It films some really sweet birds, plus this giant round pigeon belly. But did the cats enjoy it? It's hard to say, really. Ralph had just been watching the birds for real from the catio, so I'd imagine this seems somewhat less impressive in comparison. He did a big meow, then left. Bella was certainly curious, chirping and chattering away. But that was the extent of her interest. You're very hard to impress today, Bella. In the past, they've literally jumped up and swiped at the TV, and Ralph even looked behind it to see if he could find the birds for real. Maybe they've learned their lesson, or perhaps this piece of tech is better left to the humans. But how about we try a different animal, a remote control mouse? This one is pretty self-explanatory, and the remote is even shaped like a block of cheese. It caught Bella's attention straight away, but definitely frightened her when it scuttled towards her paws. Meanwhile, Ralph had heard the commotion, and quickly came to investigate, hunching over and ready to pounce. He followed it around a little, exploring closer, before becoming frightened himself, and watching from the safety of the stairs. But he couldn't keep away for long, this time deciding that friendship was the best route to take. I've knocked it over, bud. Maybe catching mice is not his strong suit, so let's try one last toy, this weird feather box contraption. It's basically whack-a-mole, with the feathers programmed to stick out, move around, and occasionally stop to tease the cat. Ralph volunteered to go first, before comically backing away unimpressed. And Bella? Well, it gave her a little fright, so she retreated to a safe distance, plotting her revenge. And then the beast was awakened. The counterattack was short-lived. She got distracted rolling round, but it gave her a few minutes of entertainment at least. Now some of these so far have just been gimmicks where the tech is novel, but not particularly useful, but these next few are genuine game changers. First is an automatic cat feeder, which I originally bought to dispense cereal for myself in the breakfast train video. The top section gets filled with cat biscuits, then you can either use a mobile app to trigger it, or set it to automatically release at preset meal times. It's great for if you're away overnight, for instance, or can't get home from work to feed your cat's lunch. It does admittedly terrify Ralph, but as long as he's not nearby when the food falls, he's fine. That said, we no longer use it, in favour of this next gadget. These are microchip feeders. The food bowl sits underneath a plastic lid, and holds both dry and wet food, and these arches have inbuilt microchip scanners, each programmed to a different cat. When it detects, in this case, Ralph, it opens and dinner is served. And then when he's done, closes again. As well as keeping the food fresh and covered, it's really important since both cats are on separate vet-prescribed diets, and it stops them from stealing each other's food. Also, I love the idea that Ralph and Bella obviously don't understand technology, so probably think they can move objects with their mind. Now all that eating is thirsty work, but this next gadget has got them covered. A water fountain. Ralph's had a fountain pretty much all his life, and is something of a water connoisseur. But this one has a light in it. How futuristic is that? I'm kidding, the old fountain just needed replacing. Anyway, I set up the motion censored camera to see what happened, feeling like a nature documentarian filming a watering hole in the African savannah. Bella discovered it first, satisfied by just a few exploratory sips. But before long, the water connoisseur himself arrived, and demonstrated exactly how he earned that name. The camera captured 8 separate 30-second clips over a 15-minute period, so it looks like he really enjoyed it. Okay, after all that eating and drinking, they're definitely gonna need this next gadget, a robot litter tray. This is a brand new and therefore clean one so I can demonstrate, but we've been using this model for well over a year now. When one of the cats has been to the toilet, motion sensors detect when they leave, and shortly afterwards this sort of rake comes along, scooping their business into the end compartment. Everything then resets, ready for the next time. With 2 cats, it needs to be emptied about every 2 weeks, and both the crystal litter and lid mean there's no smell. Alright, let's talk about something more fun now. The final gadget of this video, and undoubtedly my favourite, the cat translator. This is a mobile app that claims to use science to translate your cat's meows. Now conveniently, Ralph has already meowed twice in this video. Made that thrice, so let's go back and decipher what he was saying. Apparently this means I'm so mad at you. Although if I turn the volume up, he's then purring. So that's demonstrably untrue. Next this supposedly means hello, okay? And finally this allegedly means, and this is the weirdest one yet, you and I are a bonded pair. That's a very strange thing for a cat to say. As for Bella, she seldom meows, so this is the only one I actually managed to capture. And it means, I am so glad you are here. Yeah, it's not great. However, when I said the cat translator was my favourite thing in this video, well, I wasn't talking about this one. I've made my own, and it's definitely not pretend. If I hold this near Ralph when he's meowing, we're gonna find out what he really has to say. I call it the completely accurate talking translator and language knower. Time to give it a try.
Hey Chris. Feed me treats and rub my belly.
Seems accurate. So there we go. Is technology gonna change Ralph and Bella's life? Probably not, but some of it is certainly going to make my life a whole lot easier. Look at the belly. Why so hairy? It's July.